Well, we are thrilled today to be joined by Wendy and Roxie from SCTelcom to talk about value-based packages and why they decided to launch these into market.
But before we do that, I think we should do a quick icebreaker because you know how much I enjoy doing those. But Gabe, this is one of the first podcasts we have done. I don't want to say live at Connections, but at Connections. So, Wendy, we can start with you. But this Connections, what has been your favorite part?
So I have two things, I guess. I love Jerry D. He's one of my favorites. I love his delivery. He makes me laugh. But I really love putting faces, seeing people in person that you've been Zooming with for months or maybe years. So I love that part of it.
Yeah.
My turn?
Yeah.
Okay, so mine might be a little biased, but I really liked seeing our CEO up on the main stage and being able to celebrate her because she celebrated us, but she needs celebrated just as much for her success.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Gabe, I'd ask you, but I feel like we'd have the same answer. So,
What's yours?
I keep telling people that this is the best food I've had in months. This is the best I've eaten. So, but seriously, connecting with customers like SCTelcom is always fantastic. And being able to sit down with you and hearing about your experience and your journey with these value-based offers. That was a big topic on main stage today. We heard from RallyNet, and we have a podcast episode with the RallyNet team as well. So I'm very passionate about this topic as well. But Gabe, that's kind of mine. I feel like you can echo that a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. It's awesome to hear people bringing these new solutions to market. I think we talked about it. It was talked a lot on the main stage this morning of speed and price being not the way we want to go. I've had these conversations a lot with customers lately, and Wendy, I just love to hear your perspective on. I know you guys launched these new services into market, but knowing you, working with you for a long time, you were already kind of headed down this path for a long time where you had started to bundle in Experience IQ into your 1 gig package, and had seen some really great increases in take rates into that 1 gig package with that bundle. But what made you decide to really, I guess, jump into the deep end of the pool here with going full value-based offers with the new solutions that you've launched?
Sure. So it was about a year ago when we kind of dipped our toe in the water, and we were seeing some results, but I still felt like we were kind of focused on that speed at the same time, the speed and the price. And obviously we've had tons of conversations here at Connections. That's not going to do the job anymore. It's not going to set you apart. Maybe a couple years ago, your fiber was the differentiator, but it's no longer the case. So, and even the feedback that we receive from our customers, they're not saying, thank you for the gig service. They're saying, thank you for allowing me to work from home, or thank you for allowing my kids to be able to do their homework. So we decided we were just going to jump in, and I think we've seen some really good results. There is a little bit of a learning curve, I would say, for your frontline employees, but I think we've been successful on educating them. And to me, it's an easier sell if you want to. You're just having a conversation with that customer.
I'm so glad you said that, because I that's a common concern that we get a lot from people. And my pushback is always, well, how easy is it to have a conversation about 100 meg versus 500 meg versus a gig? That's very difficult. I know you're really close to this, Roxie, with a lot of the work that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. I'd love to hear more about kind of what those conversations are like with people who are really having these conversations with your subscribers, with your prospects on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, so for us on the front line, the pushback that we got was they wanted to sell the speed and the price to our customers, and we had to let them know that we were giving them permission to sit down and take as much time as they needed to get to know our customers on a deeper level and build that trust with them so that we could build them a package that fit their home.
That's such a great point. So, I know obviously we talk a lot about this, but the amount of time that somebody's spending on a call, obviously we want to, especially if it's a support issue, right, to rapidly get through that and make sure we're solving issues quickly. But in some cases, it may actually be better to elongate that call and have a deeper conversation. There's a great story from Zappos. Zappos is really known for customer service. And I remember hearing a great story that one of their support reps actually spent like 24 hours on the phone with the customer who was having a problem, which seems horrible and insane. Yeah, maybe a little extreme, but they celebrated that because it was really trying to solve ultimately really getting to the root of the customer's problem. Hopefully you don't have to have a 24-hour call with anybody, but maybe extending those out by a couple of minutes ultimately gets to, like you said, trust. I love that word. I think that was something that was talked a lot about today as well.
Yeah, trust and loyalty, just taking that time to let the customer know that we care about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's something that really sets you all apart. I think you're in a very competitive market, with a lot of folks that you're dealing with, and that's a great differentiator, as you said, Wendy.
Well, and I think too, it's important that we take a little bit more time up front and get them on the package that they need to be from the start versus starting them on a package and then in 2 months they call us and they're unhappy. Yep. So let's spend 10 or 15 more minutes on the front end versus them being unsatisfied.
Can you tell us a little bit about specifically kind of what packages you've launched into market? I would very much encourage everybody to go look at SCTelcom.net, right? I'm saying that correctly? Okay, I go there a lot, but I just had to say that out loud to make sure that was right. But I would definitely encourage everybody to go check out the website, go see the new packages that Wendy and the team have launched in the market. But can you tell us just a little bit about kind of, how you came up with these plans and what you're going to market with now?
Sure. So the Calix team played a huge part. We worked with their team, your team, to develop these packages. And one thing we did is we have access to so much of the data within Calix Cloud. So we looked at our existing customers and looked at the segments and said, okay, we have work from homers, we have gamers, that type of thing. And that's kind of how we developed our packages. I would also say, just based on the feedback from our frontline employees, what were customers needing or what were their wants and needs, and kind of went from there. We kind of try to have fun with the packages. We kind of have 2 baseline packages, but I think it's interesting because by the package name and the imagery that we use, I feel like a person can identify with that package. And that's really kind of what we were looking for. We wanted to make it easy for our customer. We have a lot of walk-ins into our stores, but we do a lot of online orders. And so we wanted them to be able to immediately identify with one of those packages.
That's great to hear, Wendy. So I talked to a customer today, and they went from 6 service tiers, all focused on speed, down to 3 based on personas. So can you walk us through what the 3 personas look like, or what your new tiers look like? You mentioned the imagery and the names. Can you walk us through each of those?
Right. So we have a simple and secure package, maybe for the older demographic that doesn't, game or work from home, obviously. We kind of have a tech starter package for that new homeowner couple that still needs something affordable but reliable. And then we have 2 top tier packages, a connected home, which a majority of our existing customers fall into that category. So that was just a no-brainer for us. And then we have a Tech Titan, which I love. One of our engineers, I think Thad, actually came up with that name.
That's a good name.
But it is a great name. Yeah.
I want to bring this up because I don't know anything about these plans other than what you just shared, but Tech Titan, Gabe, I think I know exactly what I want to buy. And Gabe, you've seen this website quite a few times, so I'm sure you know where you lie as well. But one of the conversations I always have with one of our colleagues is, if my grandparents were going to buy internet today, what would they buy? And so many websites, they'd see 100 megabits per second, 500 megabits, but they don't know what these data rate units are. They don't know what that means, free modem, all this extra stuff. Well, they don't understand that.
Is that the broadband labels totally solve all of that. So now we're good, just moving forward, right?
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. But,
no, come on.
But if I was ever an SCTelcom customer, Tech Titan for me, Gabe, what would you be knowing this?
Definitely fall into the Tech Titan category. Absolutely. Love the name. Great job like that. That's a fantastic
I know. You shout out to
But I love that you listen to the folks who are on the front line as well. And what are the things that customers are asking you for, right? That's a great way to line it up. I also think something that a lot of BSPs get concerned about is, how many should I have? Am I trying to solve all of the, every single problem? No, let's just solve for the 80%. There's always going to be one-offs. There's going to be people who maybe don't fit perfectly into one of these buckets. But if we have 12, we're just going to confuse
Too
people,
much.
right? I mean, it just ends up being too
Absolutely.
much. So you've landed on 4,
We
correct?
landed on 4, and even the structure of our website, there is no mention on the initial page, the homepage, no mention of speed or price. So we want them to identify with one of those groups, and then it takes them to a landing page and they can find more information out. But that's really our goal.
So you said something that I love there, and Zach and I talk about all the time.
It's the landing page, isn't it?
Page.
I knew it. I knew it.
100%. That's something that I feel like broadband service providers should really be leaning into a lot more. Having specific landing pages that talk to the value of each one of these plans. And the beauty of that is then you can run ads and actually drive them right to those pages and really have a good understanding from an end-to-end perspective. Okay, if I'm running an ad, that talks about a Tech Titan plan, for all that is holy, please send people back to the Tech Titan plan, right? And so many times we see people sending, just all of their traffic back to landing pages, and then you're expecting the customer to find all of this. No, that's not going to be a recipe for success.
Social ads that go to the homepage and the contact us page infuriate me. I'm a huge advocate for campaign specific landing page. Yes, it's going to take extra time, but the experience is phenomenal. And then again, presenting the correct information based on who that audience was in that particular ad. It's just marketing 101, I think. Everyone should be doing it.
The invitation has to match the party. Jacob from Checkpoint said that to me when we were preparing for a presentation that I did not get to do yesterday. But yeah, I love that perspective, right? Of the invitation needs to match the party, and that landing page piece, I think, is a perfect way to do it. And not to put you on the spot, but I know there's work obviously to get those landing pages in place, but we're not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars and months and years worth of work, right? Like these are things that you're able to fairly rapidly roll out.
Well, yes, thanks to Calais.
All right. Well,
and ECB. But really, there are some great assets on that platform, and people need to take advantage of them.
No, that's fair. I appreciate the kind words, and I know Joe Kohegi and the team will appreciate that as well.
Yeah, there was a little bit of customization. You want to personalize it, but
absolutely,
it's a great place to start.
Yep, I think that's a great point. Right, is that starting point?
Yes.
As far as feedback from customers so far, like what are you hearing, Roxie, with customers? As customers are calling in and having these conversations, do you feel like the CSRs are better equipped to get people into the right plan with some of these additional conversations? And is the feedback positive from customers so far?
Actually, what I would like to hit on is that the CESs have said these packages just sell themselves.
Love it.
That's the best part of it all.
Absolutely.
It's effortless on our end, and they can just have a fluid conversation with their customers and sell them the values that are going to help their home, help their business. Really anything. It's limitless for the packages. And what I love that we did is we named them and have images with them that are so broad they can hit any market. Before, because we did dabble in it, we had streamer gamer and the name gamer, just that one little word in there, it deflected some people. So
interesting.
I love how we changed the names to capture a lot of different types of audiences.
It's a really good point, because I think a lot of people would have thought, and we see this being successful in some cases where, if you are a strong, if you are a heavy gamer. I'm not a gamer. I know Zach's probably more of a gamer than I, but he's not even.
That's a stretch too.
Not much more than I, but and I'm like 0. But I can understand how if you don't really fall into that, how it can potentially turn people off.
Yeah. Well, as a parent, I'm the person who's paying the bill. But I'm not a gamer, but my kids are. So, Tech Titan would probably be the way I go, or Connected Home. It just depends on the mood that I'm in that day. But both packages would fit me.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think the big question I have is, this was a big conversation at Connections this year. What advice would you give to another BSP who's maybe curious or ready to do this? What advice can you give them?
So I think it's something you have to consider if you want to
set yourself apart.
Yes, absolutely.
Like from the big markets, it sets us apart. It makes us local. It makes people resonate with us. We're human. There's a human aspect in it. So that's what I think.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I agree.
All right. Well, we really appreciate the time. This was a great conversation. I really appreciate you sharing your experience of how you kind of went through this path. I know, anytime we make changes like this, it's a big leap of faith sometimes.
Right.
But and there's a tremendous amount of work that goes into it. So we really appreciate you sharing your perspective with us. This was awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Super fun.